everyone. Hey, welcome back. I'm hiding out behind my chicken coop here. Not because I'm evading drones or anything, but because it's windy. It's pretty windy out, and I know how this Mevo camera does in the wind. So, but I also figured it'd be a good excuse to try out this new microphone that I got, this new snazzy piece of equipment. So, all right, enough of my nonsense here. What's the point of this video? I had a thought. It's rare, I know. But in light of all the things going on here politically in the country, one of the more recent things that just came out was this Department of Defense, authorization, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, floating around. But basically, the DoD came out with this new directive thing. And it basically says that they are legally granting themselves the permission to use lethal force to assist civilian law enforcement. Yeah, to assist. So, in other words, they're basically saying that they're going to exercise their rights. So that kind of got my noggin spinning a little bit. And, normally I'm just working on projects here, but I guess I'll let you peek behind the curtain a little bit into the deep, dark recesses of where I go sometimes. It's kind of, it's par for the course. The government's always been saying that nonsense. There's always been rumors that the you can't trust the military, blah blah blah. They took a poll back in the 90s, and like 30% said they'd fire on U.S. civilians, or whatever. I may not be getting the numbers perfect, but you can go Google that terminology. But conspiracy theories and all that nonsense aside, got me thinking with what just happened with Hurricane Helene and how the government dropped the ball big time. Why did they drop the ball? And, you can consider this little DoD announcement here, how it kind of leaked out, in limited hangout fashion. But consider that with what just happened with Helene. Everybody's pissed at the government that, they dropped the ball with the response, and that it took days and days and days to mobilize, and that civilians had to pick up the slack. Civilians had to do the heavy lifting. Civilians had to coordinate. Civilians had to collaborate. Civilians had to do the logistics. Civilians were the first responders. What would it look like in a police state action or martial law action, or God forbid a revolt or civil war? You would have civilians mobilizing, collaborating, logisticking, and responding to a thing. So what did the government do here with Helene? Maybe they were just incompetent. Maybe, all the DEI stuff, is kind of showing its true colors, or who the hell knows. But they kind of drew everybody out. They just painted a very clear picture of the who's who of civilian first responders. The people with capability, the people with know-how, the people with resources, the people who are willing, keyword willing, to get off their ass and respond. Go to the village green and do a thing. Yeah, I know there's no armed conflict. I'm using some colorful terminology here, but still, the action of making a decision, motivating yourself, and going to a place and, doing things that traditionally have been entrusted to the government in spite of the government's omnipresent authority and, we have the ability to kick your butt if we want to, blah, blah, blah. Sticking your finger right in their eye and saying, you know what, you guys suck. And we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to put our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor on the line and go do the things that you are supposed to be doing. It's a pretty big statement. So just the fact that those people showed up and, it's, they're helping their communities and all that stuff. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do as civilized people. But the fact that FEMA was on the ground FEMA, in some cases, to some accounts, was actively interfering with these civilian relief efforts. It's kind of a conflict in itself, you know, when you have to say, you know what, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and we're just going to do it anyway. Saw lots of TikTok, saw lots of Facebook about that. So it was, in a sense, a very soft conflict, a very cold civil war of sorts. Maybe if just, you know, the innuendo was there, but still, you had people saying, screw the government, we're going to do our own thing. This chicken's going to lay an egg right next to us. Holy moly, sorry. But yeah, so all these people responded. They marshaled their resources. They took it upon themselves. You know, they girded their loins and went into the hot zone and did what needed to be done. It took a lot of logistical capability, collaboration, you know, all of the little things that... What is going on over here? Hang on. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's why they're all upset. Go away, Mr. Hawk. I don't want to have to do what needs to be done. Well, go away. Now you see, Mr. That's a federal government representative right there, because hawks are federally protected by the tree police. So if he were to come in here, it'd basically be an act of war. So I think all the ducks and everything, yeah, most of the ducks are back in the pond, so they everybody vacated the premises. So I just got to make sure that Uncle Sam with wings doesn't really hang out and loiter too long. See, they've already got the drones after me. Anyway, back to the whole point of this video. Sorry about the chickens. Like I said before, I'm hiding out behind the chicken coop for the wind blocking. So you had all these people responding, and you got to realize that all these people who responded to the disaster area came from outside of the disaster area, because there was no infrastructure to be had or utilized where it was wiped out. So you had people coming from states over, and, you know, caravanning, you know, loading up tractor trailers and everything, communicating with each other, you know, passing information and marshaling resources, moving supplies, etc., long before the federal government ever got involved. And that's great. We love those people. They did exactly what they're supposed to do. That's what civilized, good people do. But think about this. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm just saying, because it is what it is. This was kind of, they forced their hand. The government forced these people into coming out of the shadows, so to speak. If you want to talk about things in terms of prepping, in terms of, you know, mutual assistance groups, all this stuff, you know, it's always kind of, you know, like, you don't talk about Fight Club, it's all on the down low, et cetera, because, you know, the government don't like that kind of thing, and for good reason, you know, because everybody knows why you prep. You don't prep for sunny days, you prep for when things go sideways. So all these people just got outed. The who's who, the best of the best, their communication networks, their patterns of communication, the methods of communication that they use, because you got to remember, the rest of the country was functional. The NSA was functional. All the, you know, intelligence gathering apparatus and tools that the government can employ was still functional. So, you know, when you think about things in terms of big data and, you know, data harvesting through, you know, the social media platforms and all this stuff, they've built a pretty good map. They, meaning the government, has built a pretty good map of who the real 3%ers are. And I'm not talking about the oath keepers and, you know, all these yahoos that show up at rallies and you know, get all motivated. Oh yeah, government sucks. And then, you know, some dude will get up on the podium and be like, I want you to take an oath and pledge your allegiance to this group and blah, blah, blah. And then it turns out that, pretty much all states have things written into their laws that if you take an oath, as part of a belligerent organization, you basically sign away all your rights and we can have our way with you, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people, thinking that they were protesting for their God-given rights and everything, kind of walked right into a trap if the government decided they ever wanted to trip it. Kind of like all those really smart individuals at January 6th. The ones who walked right into the building even though Congress was in session, which that in itself is a crime, and they were, led by the Pied Piper, and, yay, we're taking our country back. But they failed to see the big picture, and for them, the government did spring that trap. So, unfortunate for them. But, yeah, so the government now knows who the 3%ers are, probably on the entire East Coast. And I say 3%ers in the meaning of the people who are willing to get up off their butt and go do a thing. Not the ones who are, cashing away all kinds of stuff and prepping for, zombie apocalypse and the wannabe Negans of the world and all that crap. The actual people who are going to put the rubber on the road and respond. Whether it's a response to help their neighbor or a response to protect their neighbor. What the hell is going on over here? Yeah. Bird drone. Better than mosquito drones. Anyway, so that's just kind of the thought that went through my head the other couple hours ago. I was like, aha. See what they did there. They goaded everybody into responding. And they made their communication networks. They made who's who. They made who have the resources, who can. They basically ID'd everybody who have the capability to drop what they're doing and pivot instantly and go in another direction. Think about that. If you were, a Game of Thrones type personality and you wanted to, go through all the books and find out who all your enemies are. I'm not saying that, all them genealogy websites are cataloging everybody who, has a claim to the throne or anything. I'm just saying, they got a lot of intelligence out of this Helene thing. Don't ever think that it's just incompetence. Because I have a feeling it's not, especially, that DOD directive came out on September 27th, and it flew under the radar until just now after the Helene thing. It's almost like saying, ha, see, we got you. Anywho, that's enough of the old conspiracy theorist mindset for today. Have fun with that, or don't. But think about it. Think about paying attention to your personal devices. You use your computer all day long. You know how long it takes to load a web page. You know how long it takes to scroll through something in your phone or anything like that. Is there any perceptible delay after, you were involved with certain people or with certain things? Did your phone have to do a software update out of the blue? That kind of stuff. Same thing with your computer. I've been using computers since I was like 8. I know exactly when something's up. And then you got to go in the task manager and find it and kill it. So that's the other thing. If you didn't build the hardware and if you didn't write the software that's on your device from start to finish, you can't trust it. Period. Don't ever think that an electronic device can be trusted. All right. Yeah, that's enough conspiracy theory. I'm going to go see if I can locate where Uncle Sam with Wings is hanging out and make sure that my chickens don't have anything to worry about. All right. Good day to you.